Yeah. Mogomotsi France here. On a Sunday, driving around gaps. Actually, I'm driving from my house in Local to the office, and the roads are empty. I think the culture here is that people on a Sunday they relax and they wait for Monday. As entrepreneurs, we're always working. I'm always trying to figure out which problem to solve, or basically how to do things better. Because Monday it's another day to do things differently from the past week. Achieve better results. It's quite busy in the office, so we need to do some of the work on a Sunday. On a Saturday and a Sunday, we work more hours than anyone else. That's what the entrepreneurs do. And by the way, I was just thinking about something. I had a chat with someone yesterday, and I realized, people worry a lot. A lot of people worry themselves to the grave, if you think of it. And they don't realize that the opposite of worry is freedom. The other side of worry, on the other side of worry is freedom. Once you stop worrying, you open up doors to the freedom you've never experienced before. Think of it. What do we worry about? We worry about not having enough money. We worry about things not going our way. We worry about what people are thinking or talking about us, which when you think about it, you don't have control over it. And even Dr. Wayne Dyer talked about worry as a gateway to the grave, to deterioration. That's what think of it. You first start with ignorance. You're ignorant about things. If you want to be successful in issues of money, you need to start going after information and knowledge of how money works. If you want to really up your emotional intelligence, you need to now start thinking about how the mind works. Mind, body, spirit, and what's the other one? The 4 human domains. When you train emotional intelligence, we talk much about that. You need to look at those things and realize you need to take control of what goes into your mind, because a lot of people don't protect their minds and they worry themselves to the grave. Now, worrying yourself to the grave clearly means that after you become so ignorant about a lot of things, there comes worry and doubt. You worry and you doubt a lot of things because you are that person who's ignorant. You don't even go out and get information. Once you worry a lot, you find yourself against like, things are not going my way, and things are not going your way. It's because of hope. I don't believe in hope. Don't hope things go your way. Have faith. Faith is much stronger because you believe things are gonna go your way, and after faith, it's action. You go ahead and act. Now, people that worry are people that hope a lot. They hope things will change, and are people that think that something has to change in the outside for their life to be better. For example, they think if political parties will change, my life will be better. They think that my pastor can say something that will change my life. They think if I go to a traditional doctor, they'll heal my bad luck. They think so many things. They think things have to change in the outside, but what they are forgetting is things has to change in the inside. That's why they say success is an inside job, because once you change what's going on in the inside, in terms of what thoughts do you fire and wire, what's going on. When you are relaxed and you start thinking, is it on a negative side or on a positive side? Because I think people that worry a lot are people that really haven't put in new information in their mind, and they're still relying on what has been recorded in the past. What's in their subconscious mind, because the mind is a storage of the past. Because it's a storage of the past and it's an object of repetition. If you repeatedly think about the past, and the past only has worry, you're continuously going to be worrying. That's why people worry themselves to the grave. And now, after worry and doubt, according to Dr. Wayne Dyer, then you get to what is called anxiety. You become anxious. You're not at ease. Your body's not at ease. You're all over the place. You don't know what you're doing. And once you get there, because that's anxiety, and when anxiety is suppressed, it goes into depression. Now, depression is something else, because I've seen quite a number of people on social media, or let's say on let's say celebrities, as we are aware of them, they died because of depression. And when you ask our friends, they'll tell you, no, this guy was happy all the time, but he just passed on because of the thoughts that were going in their mind. What they were showing you is it's a front, it's a facade. It's not something that is real. They're showing you what you want to see, but what's going on in the inside is something else. It's negative thoughts, and that's what kills a lot of people. Worry and doubt, anxiety, and now it goes into depression. After depression, then it's disease and disintegration, because then, I train a lot with Master, and when she talks about emotional intelligence, the mind, the emotions, the spirit, the body, and taking care of all these 4 human domains and making sure that you live in your consciousness. And when she gets to this thing called disease, which I guess is what a lot of psychologists or life coaches will talk about, is the word disease means dis-ease. That means there's a dis-ease in the body. And why is there dis-ease in the body? It's because the thoughts that you fire in why sends a signal to the body and says, produce a hormone that makes me feel the way I'm thinking. For example, if a sad thought goes into your mind, the body will send a signal to the mind will send a signal to the body and say, produce a hormone that makes me feel weak. That's why you feel weak when you're sad. And the body will react. So that means now the way you feel is the way you think, and the way you think is the way you feel. And Dr. Joe Dispenza talks a lot about this concept, and I love learning about the mind, because we then get to a point where that's why I got the disease and disintegration. We disintegrate. You find yourself with a whole lot of body aches, headaches, back aches, neck aches. But it all started with ignorance, worrying too much. The other side of worry is freedom. Once you start realizing you need to introduce new information in your mind, and you need to start talking about things that you want, not things that you don't want, you liberate yourself. I've arrived at the office, and I'm just about now to move in work. I don't worry about the problems. I worry about how to solve the problems, because that's what I do on a day-to-day. I'm an entrepreneur. And entrepreneurs solve problems. But let me just conclude on the topic, because once you start thinking about what you want instead of thinking of what you don't want, you liberate yourself, because even the law of attraction will start working for you, because everything in your life you attract. That's why in wealth we say wealth is not something that you pursue. Wealth is something that you attract by being an attractive person. Meaning, not attractive doesn't mean they'll close you, wear the car. No. It means the mind. You develop a mind that attracts wealth, because in Setswana, or like attracts like. You attract that you think about. Have you found yourself, you like a certain car, and then all of a sudden you see a lot of it around town? Why? Because you've developed the mindset, you've triggered something you might call the reticular activating system. Then you are starting to think in that way. When you're telling your mind, be aware anytime you see this particular car. Now think of if you then activate that reticular activating system with complaining and worrying. That means the universe will then give you things to worry about, because they say whatever you think you deserve, the universe will serve. And whatever you attract, if you attract negative energy, the universe will give you a lot of things to complain, to worry about. And then worry continuously becomes the order of the day, and people get addicted to worry. By studying the mind, I realized that a lot of people are addicted to negative emotions like worry, like anger, so many negative emotions, and they get in between them, creating wealth. I for one, liberated myself. I think I emancipated myself from thinking in negative terms to now thinking in positive terms. And that only happened when I started introducing new information in my mind, because the subconscious mind has this thing that it replays what has been stored. Now think of it: if you haven't introduced new information in your mind in the past 5 years, you might realize that odds are you are thinking the same way you were thinking 5 years ago. Now, if 5 years ago your life was miserable, it means that chances of your life being miserable today are high, because you still find why the same thoughts. You still think the same way you used to think 5 years ago. So this thing of worry, in this day and age, in our country, we are faced with a lot of unemployment. People are highly indebted. That's why I wasn't shocked when when I saw research for it in Botswana, we are among the least happiest people. When they were checking, I think about 170 something somewhere there. They think of it. It means a lot of people are unhappy. Why are they unhappy? Because they find themselves in situations, financial difficulties. They find themselves being able to deal with unemployment, not be able to deal with difficult situations in their lives. And all they know, the information they have, the tools they have in that toolbox is that of the past. They're not wired for difficult times. They're not wired for change. They're not wired for things if things don't go their way. So this thing of worry, actually, I see it a lot. I mean, in people around me, I see it in people that I interact with, and I then said, yeah, man, come on, man. There's something that can be done, and the solution. Remember, I said the other side of worry is freedom. Once you liberate yourself, and then you start looking at life in a different way, because they say if you change the way you look at things, the things you look at will change. That means now if you start looking at life in a positive way, not finding problems in every situation, but finding opportunities of growth in every challenge, then you start looking at life as something that has to be lived. Then life doesn't happen to you, you happen to life. I think I for one don't let things happen to me. I let myself happen to things that I want in my life. And I realize that things that I cannot control, things that think of it, I can't stop people to talk about me. I can't stop people to think about negatively about me, whatever. I mean, it's that problem to whatever they think. That's why even Les Brown said another person's view of you doesn't have to be your reality, because people are always going to think, are always going to talk. I mean, think of it. If you worry because you don't have money, number two, you don't have money, or you worry because you don't know how to use money, or you worry because you don't know how money works, or you worry because you're not getting enough money because you're not putting enough value in the marketplace. What is it that you worry about? Once you start asking the right question to yourself, and then realize that you need understanding of how things work, then you start going after the information that will help you to get things that you want. I mean, if I had just said, you know what, I come from a poor family, so I'll just think the way my parents used to think. Rich people are evil, there's never enough money. I would have never achieved what I've achieved up to now. I'm not saying I've achieved a lot. I'm going somewhere. Even though success is relative, one person might look at me and say I'm successful, but I look at myself and say I'm going somewhere. Success has got levels. Everyone defines the success the way they want to define it. For one, it might be buying the Amalfi. For one, it might be building a 7-story building. It's different. So I'm at my level of success, and I'm going towards a certain place that I've envisioned in my mind. And see, the last thing, maybe as a conclusion and issue of worrying, I realized that the reason why people worry is because there's nothing that is that's pulling them to the future. So once you don't have something that pulls you to the future, you're always going to have something that drags you to the past. And I remember Dr. Joe Dispenza, he said, if you don't have a vision of the future, you're always going to be stuck in the memories of the past, and you'll be predictable. Meaning, if you don't have something that pulls you to the future, meaning you have to paint a picture of what you want. And when I started Key Wealth, I realized I want to build a one-stop shop. I didn't know how I was going to do it, but I painted a picture of what problem it to be solving, how I want the machine to be running, and everything. I envisioned it, and then I started working towards it. So even any obstacle that is there that I went through, or that I go through on a day-to-day, it's not enough to get me to quit, because the bigger picture out there, it's too strong. It's pulling me, and I've got faith, not hope, faith. And faith is belief. I believe that I'm gonna get to that picture, and I appreciate each and every step towards the picture. Remember, Denzel Washington said, "Don't confuse movement with progress." Just because you are doing a lot more doesn't mean you're getting a lot more done. But once you start realizing each and every step matters, once you start being happy, and giving yourself a pat in the back, for achieving smaller tasks. For example, you get into your office and you do a to-do list. When you achieve that task, you get that fulfillment. And once you move a step, one step closer to your picture, congratulate yourself, because it's tough. The environment is negative. So if you don't congratulate yourself, people won't congratulate you. The picture wasn't shown to them; it was shown to you alone. So go ahead and there's a saying that says, work without play. It goes something like that. It says work without play makes John a double. Those who knows the say will correct it in the comment. But it says something like that, because you can't just be working all the time. You have to have fun, and you have to congratulate yourself. I congratulate myself after every hurdle, after every obstacle, when we achieve something. Recently we just got re-accredited. Actually, we were accredited for 3 years by BQ as a training consultancy, and it ended. Our accreditation was expiring. It's actually expiring in June, so it's in October, this October. And what happened is we resubmitted somewhere last year, somewhere around November. It took a long time. There was some back and forth. And after about 6-7 months, we got our accreditation. Now it's for 10 years. And to me, this is a step in the right direction. Congratulate myself, congratulate the team, because I can't do it alone. I mean, it wasn't me alone, it's the team, because that's the other thing. You need support of the right people. So you only will stop worrying once you have a vision, a picture that pulls you to the future. Imagine you're going somewhere, but what is pulling you in the back is much stronger than what is pulling you to go forward. Clearly, you will always, regress. But once that vision is so strong that it pulls you to the future, it pulls you so much that you don't even look at problems. You see them as challenges. You see your life as something that is going to be amazing, even if you are at a certain point in your life where it's difficult. You don't judge yourself based on that. I mean, if I had judged myself based on 2016 and 17, I would have quit. When I share with people that at some point in the company around 2014-15, I had hired about 9 people. In 2016, we hit a slump, and I had to reduce staff to 2 and ultimately 1, which is myself. But some guys were just around there. But there wasn't money to pay them. But now we've got 24 and growing, 24 members of staff and growing. If I had let that situation define me, I wouldn't be where I am. So what I'm saying is, don't judge yourself based on where you are in this current moment, and don't judge yourself according to what other people say about your situation, because they don't know the picture. They haven't seen the picture. It was shown only to you. You're the only one who sees it. Yeah, they will congratulate you once you make the picture very clear, and it can only be clear once you start acting. Take that action, even if people think that it's impossible or it cannot be done, because it's you believe in yourself, and you definitely will make everyone believe in you, including the bankers, who can then start trusting you with that money. So the most important thing is worry freedom. Worry freedom. What do you want? If you want to stop worrying and you want to get out of the addiction of being worried, make sure that you realize this, you become aware that there's another side, which is freedom, and the other side is more positive. You start wiring positive thoughts. You don't look at life from what you don't want. You look at life from what you want. You start assessing what is pulling you back, and you start looking what can pull me to the future that I want. And yeah, I mean, I can continue sharing more with you, because I see a lot of people struggling, and I see a lot of people quitting, not realizing their dreams. And people ask me, what keeps you moving? What keeps you motivated? There's that intrinsic motivation in me, because there's that picture that I'm seeing in the future. So I guess I'll see you guys next time. Let's keep interacting. You can comment, Kokasi, in the comments, and just share with me what you think about this thing of worrying, because I think it worries me that people worry a lot, and I want people to stop worrying and start acting and start thinking in a positive way, because people are dying a slow death because they are worrying themselves to the grave, and depression is rampant. A lot of people are going into depression, but there's so many opportunities because for every obstacle there's so much opportunities. In actual fact, let me finish by one statement. Do you know, even in Zimbabwe right now, even though there's no the economic activity, the economic situation in Zimbabwe is not that good, but there's still people making money in Zimbabwe. Believe me, even in a drought, vultures still eat, because vultures eat what? Meat, right? So clearly, when there's a drought, there's a lot of dead meat, so it will eat. So which means, if when there's a lot of drought, when there's a lot of challenges, there's a lot of opportunities. You can go ahead and start, solving people's problems, because once people, the moment people worry is because they've got a lot of problems. Now I'm talking to you, the entrepreneur, because once people start worrying a lot, it means they have a lot of problems that need solutions, and you can solve them. Reinvent yourself, become a difference and make a difference. Don't become part of the bottom, because the bottom is overcrowded, and everyone in the top 10% was once in the bottom 10%. I think at some point I was at the bottom 10%. I'm not saying I'm at the top 10%, I'm going there, but one thing you should know is you can only move and progress, not movement, progression. Because remember, don't confuse movement with progression with movement. Just because you're doing a lot more doesn't mean you're getting a lot more done. But once you start moving from this side, going somewhere to the top 10, because you're solving other people's problems, and because people worry a lot, and you're figuring out what makes them worry, and you solve that pain point, then you're going somewhere. I've spoken to those that worry, I've spoken to the entrepreneur, and I've spoken to everyone that want to emancipate themselves from this worry thing. Stop worrying and start acting, and start going for what you want, not what you don't want. Thanks a lot. We'll meet next time.